Welcome to our webinar today, Efma and Accenture's insurance webinar on what industry convergence means for insurers. So we're delighted to welcome you all here. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to wherever you are around the world today. And today we will be focusing on how we can really connect to insurance consumers and what it means for that today in our industry. And I'm delighted to welcome here today Nicola Palazzo from Accenture, Matthias Ruffenacht from Baloise, Pierre Durostu from AXA XL, and Raoul Prieto from Salud Savia, who have kindly offered to join us today to share their experiences and their opinions on the matter. As you know, Efma and Accenture really share the belief that in sharing best practices and sharing their opinions on what's happening in the industry, that we can really inspire and drive innovation for insurers around the globe. So today we will be hearing from Nicola directly, who'll be sharing some of Accenture's insights, and then we'll be going into a panel discussion with our industry executives who are here today. Unfortunately, we won't be doing a live Q&A session. We will be asking you to share your thoughts during a poll. However, if you have any questions for anybody here today that you'd like to share, please do so in the chat box on the side of the window, and we will make sure that people are able to receive those questions and respond accordingly. So it's time to hand over directly to you, Nicola, so you can take us through what's happening today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the introduction. We can go directly to the next page, please. Okay, so yeah, welcome to the third Efma Accenture insurance webinar. Thank you again for having me as a host. It's an important topic we're going to discuss, and let me start thanking the panelists, the colleagues who are going to share their experiences with us today. We are at the time where the role of the consumer has become critical for the survival of the industry itself. It is changing, it is demanding more interaction. People request increase in convenience in the way they interact. And this is somehow in contrast with the average opportunities for interaction that happens in a typical calendar year for insurers. If we as insurers have to move forward in these uncertain times, we need to be able to align to the needs of the tomorrow consumer. If you think the same digital advances that are posing a threat to the industry because are giving space to new nimble rivals, today are also offering opportunities for insurers to diversify, to create new offering, new products, new services, find those new revenue pools that come from the additional interaction with the consumers. We believe that insurers are somehow ready to join this game. They are evolving their people, their system, their strategies to be able to cope with these new trends. Before starting my brief introduction, and please bear with me for a few minutes, I will then start with the core of this discussion, then interviewing and getting the feedback from our colleagues and their companies. We would like to show you, we would like to have your voice in a very quick survey. So I would kindly ask if we can show the question. Would you mind answering me this question? When you think of open insurance, what is the biggest barrier that you see today? Please choose the first if it is investing in right technologies. Choose the second for creating right culture and capabilities. Or the third for finding and securing the right ecosystem partnerships. Time for you to vote. We'll give you some seconds. And then we'll move forward. We will show the results at the end of my introduction and use it as a starting point for the discussion with our friends. So if we can move forward. Okay, and the next slide, please. Thank you. So you often hear about the terms open insurance, ecosystem, partnerships, beyond insurance that are often used as, let's say, alternative wording, but they do have a different meaning. The real thing is what lies beneath in all the cases is that we're referring to a data business. Data is at the core of the transition, of this change, of the possibility to offer new services to the market. The availability of historic data and real-time data for insurers enable them to change their model. But it's easy to say, not that easy as a transition or as a change and to be successful. If you recall, 5 to 6 years ago, we had a similar thing happening in banking, but there was for very different reasons. There was the regulator pushing banks to open up. Today, insurers are opening up and transforming into data business, but more for other reasons. There is nobody from the regulators that are pushing this to happen. It's the need from insurance to be relevant in the marketplace, avoid the disruption, and find new growth paths in a stagnant situation. The availability of data, of this growing suite of data, enables to improve the products and services that can be sold and enhance the customer experience. Moreover, if we look beyond the single company, the data allows to engage third-party services from the wider ecosystem, therefore complementing the offering and giving new ways for growth and for interactions. We can say that in somehow we have new segments, new channels, and new markets that can be easily be exploited, and they all brings new opportunities to engage differently the consumer. This is important because they have a clear impact on the operations, on insurance operations. Insurance operations are changing because they are improving to be able to provide this converged offering, this modular offering, these connected offerings. But on the other side, they're also changing because the more insurers open up, the more they shed their legacy limitation and create systems that are capable to interact with others. If we move next, please. Okay, so when we speak about system, we often hear the term APIs, application programming interfaces. It is borrowed from IT, and now everyone is talking about API economy since ages. API are, let's say, let me simplify that by saying solutions that enable the transfer of data, the exchange of data among applications, systems, or companies. In real life, though, we should say that it's not just data that is exchanged. We are exchanging also capabilities among companies. And similarly to data, capabilities are exchanged following a model that's based on the principle that you see on the slide, and consume, share, and collaborate. By consume, we mean the fact that this data or these capabilities are used to create new proposition, new insights that are then shared with the rest of the market, monetizing the assets. This enabled that collaboration with the existing partners, and the sum of the proposition can create new value-added proposition, new value-added services to the consumer. The next slide, please. The outcome of this is that we're seeing the emergence of new convergent businesses from the silo economy that we were used to see before. Now, more and more we hear about proprietary but interconnected platform, data monetization or digital marketplaces systems that enable the exchange of information, of data among the companies. The possibility to go beyond insurance is a must for many players because they need to continuously interact with the consumers. Also, those who are struggling to find a way to be propositive and relevant on the market can now complement their offering and become a presence for the consumer. Consumer, we said, want convenience. They are looking for this converged offering to solve multiple financials, well-being and risk-related needs in a unique place. What is needed is exactly the question that I asked you to answer in the beginning. So bear with me if I'm going back to the point on the next slide. If we can move forward, please. What we at Accenture believe is needed for this successful convergence are three things. First is having the right technologies, because without that, you cannot be able to exploit that data and capabilities exchange. Second, you need to have right culture and capabilities. This is often underestimated because especially when you're talking about sort of joint venture, if you have not the right capabilities and culture of collaboration, you're not successful. And third, you need to have the right partnerships. The need to have all these three things together becomes more and more relevant these days. And we'll see with the support of our friends that are going now to be active in this discussion, how they cope with that and how they struggle to make the three things working together. Let me see what are the answers that you gave to the survey and exactly what's in your view most relevant from these. Okay, so sorry, I have my Windows survey. It's 42% culture and capabilities. Okay, so why don't we say, starting maybe from Matthias. Sorry if I pick one of you randomly. What is the in your view what are the cultural capabilities that are needed for insurers to play in this type of game, let me call it?
Yes, thank you for that question. Actually, quite hard to add anything after your comprehensive introduction, but I'll try my best. When I think of cultural capabilities, there are a few aspects that come to my mind, and I'll try to summarize them very briefly in a few propositions. I think first and foremost, it is very important that you have throughout your company a aligned and agreed understanding of where you want to go with your ecosystem or open insurance strategy. And that has to be understood and ingrained by every employee. So here it is very important to understand why are we doing this, and I think that goes for every insurer. We just we want to tackle these opportunities that arise with ecosystems, as you have shown in your graph. We're not in the siloed business anymore. It's going to change, and we want to serve our customers in the best possible way. And in ways that today we cannot even think of right now, and our customers probably also are not aware of. So this is basically the understanding that that you have to have throughout the company. The second proposition here I can think is challenge your assumption. When you set up your ecosystem strategy, it will be based on a lot of assumptions, I guess, because you cannot, no matter how good your model is, you cannot model everything through, because the ecosystem or the open insurance system is a kind of like a living thing. And so you have to challenge these assumptions, like, do I have the right processes? Am I on track with my role in the ecosystem? Do I have the right people? Do I have the IT capabilities, and so on and so forth? And the third proposition I can make here is stay in peace with the traditional business lines that you have. I think it's, from a culture perspective, it's very dangerous if you have a kind of black and white, old versus new mentality in your company. So old is not good, new is good. Old is not fancy, new is fancy. So it has to be kind of an ambidexterity in your company that it goes hand in hand. The traditional business can as well be part of an ecosystem, just maybe in a different way than the new value propositions that we are going to create. And I think last but not least, you have to be open-minded. You have to be open to those kind of changes. And we in the company usually talk about the made-up term of business APIs. That doesn't exist. That's a made-up term that we have. But basically, what it means is we not only have to be technically able to connect to a new business model, but also mentally, if we see new opportunities, we have to think ahead of how can we connect as an insurer, or not even as an insurer. How can we offer new services on these arising platforms or in an open insurance setting? And I think really my last kind of proposition is learn from the best in the industry, and particularly outside of the industry. There are many cases. Cut the piece of the cake for you that it fits, and try to pilot it and test it, fail fast, and keep going on it.
Thank you. I like your business API concept. I think it's very powerful to express what you said. I do believe that culture is often underestimated as an aspect, and is probably one of the reasons why the clashes among the ecosystem cannot, let's say, they go against the possibility to be successful. Let's say going to another one, probably Pierre. If we talk about partnership, so in your experience, how do you engage with the ecosystem, with the partners? How do you make that working?
So first, I like as well the business API ID. And Matthias, if you allow me, I will steal you and use it at Accenture as well. Yeah. So how do you engage with?
I'm doing the same.
How do you engage with partners? Cool, thanks. Probably the first word I will share is carefully. Carefully is my answer to how do we engage with partners. I think, you know, this whole new economy, open insurance ID, ecosystem ID is extremely exciting, that's for sure. But I see huge risk to jump on the topic, try to secure partnership without a clear strategy. And going back on what Matthias was saying as well, I think it's totally clear you need first to start to have your own strategy. And by strategy, I mean, what are your strengths? What are your assets? What is the value you bring vis-a-vis the other industry players? What are the use cases I see that could benefit my company, my partners, and the end customer? Where should we play a role? And what type of role should we be playing? And I think that's super important. That's an ecosystem strategy, and that's how you design the right way of approaching partners. Should I build my own ecosystem? Should I be the orchestrator of my ecosystem and bring partners in? Or should I join an existing ecosystem? And then what would be my contribution to this new ecosystem? Is it a digital play on a platform type of approach? Or is it more a partnership, open innovation approach where we are going to co-innovate with a partner to the benefit of the end customer? And there is no one size fits all. And I think you, as a company, could have multiple approaches depending on the different use cases. At AXA XL, typically we have different use cases. We have in the US what we call our construction ecosystem, and it's very much a digital ecosystem, a digital platform where we orchestrate and we bring tech partners for the benefits of the industry. And at the other end of the spectrum, we have as well other type of partnership where we do co-innovate with startups or very large economy players like B2B2C. We have a partnership with Uber, typically, where we insure drivers. So you have to be flexible and you have to be organized. That said, I think to me there are three fundamental points to succeed in this engagement with partners. The first one is being focused and picky. You need to be selective. And you need to ensure that, and that sounds a bit basic, but you need to ensure that the partner brings value, capabilities, enrich the data, enrich the offer, brings potentially new customers. So you have to be focused and picky. The second is you have to ensure that there is a full alignment of interest. I think it's a critical point to succeed in an ecosystem industry, is to ensure this alignment of interest. You need to be in a situation where with your partner, if you win, he wins. If you lose, he loses. If you grow, he grows. Otherwise, it won't work. And we have tested it. And I tell you, it won't work if there is no alignment of interest. And then you have to be agile and nimble. And let's face it, our industry is a bit rigid in terms of processes, of systems, of tools, of legacies. And we need to adapt to be in a position to react quickly and smoothly. Going back on my example on AXA XL, growing a construction ecosystem requires a very smooth, organized onboarding process for the tech partners. And in the same idea, my team aims at accompanying this innovation partnership, where we quarterback discussion, we push things internally so that the partners, as one single point of contact, go through us, and we deal with the legacy and we manage with the complexity of the organization.
Thank you. Yeah, I fully agree with you. I recall from my studies that the success of a joint venture is when you're clear and you avoid to just go with one partner because it seems to be the correct one. I have not tested it exactly. And then the other thing, the role we want to play. I see a lot want to join an ecosystem, but they have no clarity of where they want to be, because you can be the orchestrator, but you need to act as the orchestrator, or you can be the follower, but then in that case you need to be ready to be exchanged with others, and that changes a lot. Thank you.
And I think again, just on that point, if I may, I think you can be both orchestrator of your own ecosystem and participant to other ecosystem. And we need to keep in mind that ecosystem goes with an S at the end, and you could participate to many different ecosystems and have different roles in the various ecosystem you're playing in.
Yeah, and I believe you can really move from the core to the sides and back. That flexibility is something that normally is not easy to be achieved, and so that opens up to the other question, since we are going to touch all the 3 points, and so maybe let me call in Raul on this if you can. I really would like to understand what's your view on the relevance of technology. Technology is somehow an issue when you have to exchange information. How are you taking advantage in your experience of technology to create the ecosystem?
Well, thank you for the question. At first, fully agree with my colleagues about the vision about partners and culture. Okay, a little brief about our approach to the digital ecosystem that we are creating now in MAPFRE. We are now focusing in create more value for customer, adding new products and services based on traditional providers and new startups that provide new kind of digital services. And about the technology, we were lucky to be in MAPFRE in a spin-off because we had the opportunity to create a technology platform from scratch, and to be supported by the principal vendors of the market, such as AWS, Google, Salesforce. The platform is now focusing on covering the full digital experience of our customers, delivering each specific services at the moment that our client needs. Okay, and to do this, we create the platform using the latest technologies. We have implemented implemented a microservices architecture in a multi-cloud environment with all the information centralized in Azure EM, and we are moving all the data from our clouds to a horizontal data platform that provides the main capabilities that business needs to be successful. Okay, we are providing BA capabilities, we are providing advanced analytics capabilities, and we are also providing an activation model of the data to personalize the customer path in order to deliver a specific and unique experience for each customer at each moment. Okay, we were happy also to have the support of other integrators such as Accenture in this path, and our main pillars to deliver this excellent experience are an agile team that works closely with the business area in order to warrant that the technology is using in the correct way. Okay, and I think that this is the secret of the success in your case, because it combines the technology with the culture in an agile model to be focused in the customer, in the experience, and putting in value the data in the right moment.
Yeah, I agree. The agility, I believe that the agile methodology is something that's valid not just when applied to the IT, but to the whole concept. So scaling it to the whole enterprise is probably a tough challenge.
We believe in this concept. We believe that agile is not only IT. Agile is a concept of agile company. We are going beyond this idea, and we are joining to these squads to traditional business areas in order to have the full vision of the products and deliver an end-to-end vision to the customer.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the unfortunately, the real thing is that many of these ecosystem propositions are easy to be copied. So what makes it more successful is the time that it takes you to bring them to the market. The quicker you are, the more time you can capitalize on those. Then someone else can come and copy it. And we have multiple examples around. There is no secret ingredient behind, but it requires a big change in the systems, in the culture of the company, in the way in which we approach our partners, because the flexibility and the speeds are pretty relevant. Unless you play in a very niche market and there are not that many competitors, but reality is that it is really a minority of the cases. So thank you. I would like to use the last part of this discussion by having your example. So if we use the same order as we used before, so going to Matthias now, I would like Matthias, since he represents Baloise, to come and tell us how you are playing in this ecosystem game, how your company is active in this, and giving us the example wherever you can help us also share how this can be done and what are the reason for the success, or maybe also the mistakes from where you learn.
Yeah, in the first question, actually, I made a few propositions, although those were kind of like, this was kind of like my thinking. At least I try to loosely connect it with what we are doing at Baloise. And basically, the first proposition was having a common understanding inside the company. And I think this is something that we really take serious and we put forward, especially with our strategy that we recently in fall last year published as the second phase, the season 2 of our Simply Safe strategy. And just very briefly, in that strategy, we defined 4 main pillars. Let's stick with the first 3. Focus the core, reimagine the core, and diversify the core. And by looking at the strategy, we can bring in the ecosystem perspective on all those different pillars, obviously in a totally different way. If you look at the first 2 pillars, where we focus on the core business, trying to make it more smoothly for the customers, more efficient, especially more simple and radically simple for them, but also bringing in some kind of new perspective in that business, like how can we add the Baloise touch to it? How can you make customers more satisfied and create new experiences? Those kind of core services that we create and improve, we can actually then play in an ecosystem that's the important part here, that we don't really own. We actually contribute to it as probably not as an orchestrator, but as an integrated partner, and bring in what we are, what we have been doing in the past for quite long, and now are actually trying to do better. So the important part is we will not own the interface to the customer if we play with our core, with those core capabilities in the ecosystem. I think the most prominent example I have right now from us is insurance. Just to sum it up very quickly, insurance is just the umbrella term for all those kind of offers that we have integrated in sharing platforms. For example, if you want to rent a motorhome at My Camper in Switzerland, our coverages are embedded in their system. But again, the customer comes via My Camper to those solutions. So now if you look at the third pillar, diversify the core, here the perspective is a different one. As you probably heard, we're focusing on the ecosystems, home and mobility. And here we go, and that's the important thing, we go beyond insurance. We are looking for services and offers that basically are unrelated to insurance. That doesn't mean if there is a possibility to do what we're good at, the core business, we of course try to seize those opportunities, but it's not the main focus. And just to give you a short flavor on it, some examples from the home ecosystem in Switzerland, we are invested or partnering, for example, with relocation services, cleaning services, laundry services, or platform providers for homeowners where they can manage their own building. So these kind of services outside of the insurance industry that we are looking at, and to connect, and again here kind of sit on the interface to the customer. I mean, eventually it's an ecosystem, it's open, it will evolve. We will not be the proprietor of all the access points to the customer, but at least we're trying to have a good share of that in that model.
Yeah, well, that's a powerful example of the beyond insurance. So I now understand that diversify the core. That's really what many are looking at, but examples are coming in today more and more than before. And this is exactly the type of examples I think our colleagues who are listening to us are maybe interested in understanding, and hopefully for them coping or trying to replicate, maybe in a different way, in another composition. So thank you for this. Pierre, same question to you. So how did you at AXA XL approach this open insurance, and what examples can you bring?
So we try to approach it in a very varied manner, I would say. First and foremost, I think open insurance for us means innovating with the rest of the AXA galaxy. We are AXA XL, obviously. We are a big part of AXA, but not all AXA. And there is a clear benefit of being part of the AXA family, and we can leverage and partner with our own colleagues. We have an investment manager branch. We have a health insurance company. We have VC arms, we have incubators, we have retail companies. So there is a clear benefit for us to first converge internally, I would say. Of course, we are partnering and converging with very different external partners as well. We are working a lot with startups through incubators, and typically with Accenture, we have some strong partnership on that. And what we try to do with startups is not only partner for our benefits, but as well for the benefits of our own customers, and trying to bring startups, we find, as part of the offer, as part of the partnership that we propose to our own customers. We try to partner with some of our peers as well, and not often it's done, but I see that as an interesting opportunity, a bit mirroring with what happens in the banking industry with open banking. I think we insurers, to some extent, could partner in some offers, in some moves together. I think typically on climate or CSR topic, we are trying to push some ideas with some of our competitors / peers, and I think there is a benefit of doing that as well. And of course, our main focus is to partner with our own customers. As you know, AXA XL insure a lot of very large companies in the world. And what we start to realize is that the relationship we have starts to mature, because this ecosystem principle, this open innovation principle, applies to all industry. And more what we see is some of our customers being as well our providers. You know, typically if you take a very large tech companies, we are the insurer of the tech companies, take any GAFAM, but as well we are their customer. And then when you start to realize that, you see, okay, maybe we should all exit of this supplier customer type of relationship and more partner and try to innovate together. And we are deepening a lot of relationship with those very large companies. Very recently, we announced a partnership with Microsoft to build the digital health platform, which is an ecosystem dedicated to health for customers. And we are very much in this idea of partnering with Microsoft, trying to build an ecosystem all together for the benefit of our respective customers. And since we have this new customer, this new partner coming to us, we have built a very specific approach dedicated to innovating together with our customers and solve this idea of complex issues, of potential partnership to build the ecosystem. So we are very much trying to sit with them to, okay, how could we innovate together? And I think that's very much the name of the game here. Very recently, we had typically a very large manufacturer coming to us and say, okay, I have this new set of data that I don't really know how to use. I'm sure if we were to combine your data and my data, we could do something very, very sensible. And typically we are in this approach of trying to join forces and trying to partner with them. So it's not only digital platform, digital ecosystem, but it's as well open innovation, meaning we are truly partnering together. And I think we need to be very flexible in our approach to this idea. Just one illustration, one example of a successful ecosystem that we have built in the US, in the construction industry. We've built this US construction ecosystem where we offer to our end customers not only insurance product, but as well a lot of insight, data, and partnership with tech providers who are able to help our end customers to better manage risk, better offset their risk exposure. So this is a very promising platform that we've built, and we see a lot of traction coming in, and more customers being super interested in this type of new approach.
Thank you. I think you mentioned the most recent cases, the health one that came out. I think a lot of our listeners would be interested in getting more details. So let's keep it aside for a second, because I don't want to take out time. But in case we have some more time, maybe we can focus more. Also because Raul represents the health part of MAPFRE. So there's a same question for you, Raul. So probably you will be touching that already on your part. So how did you approach it? How do you play in the ecosystem? In your case, is most probably related to the health part, right?
Well, yes and no, because we are now providing an agnostic ecosystem that's interconnected different kind of services Really, we started with the e-health. We launched our product Savia 2 years ago, and we are providing with these products non-insurance e-health services. You can have a video consultation with a doctor, and you can purchase for different tests and physical services into the ecosystem. But we are going beyond this idea now, and we are providing the full capabilities in an agnostic model to increase the value proposition to the MAFRE customer. To do this, we have 3 key pillars. The first is the Agile Tech platform I mentioned in the previous question. And the second is the value of the data. Okay, we are measuring everything that happens into our ecosystem, and we are providing not only the information about BA, but also providing capabilities to activate the data in the customer path in order to deliver this customer experience, this personalized customer experience. We believe in data. We have our own CDO in our company, and our strategy is based in a data as a services vision. Okay, providing an isolation and centralization data platform, providing a real-time availability amplifiers structure that can be used for the business units to integrate this value in the different products, and descriptive and predictive intelligence to automatize different kind of decision in the customer path. And customer is most important for us, for all, but we believe that the thing to define the complex customer experience with the to say an end-to-end journey across all the moments of the context and personalizing the path to provide a unique experience is the main topic. But all these technical or digital pillars are important, but are not enough. I talked about the agile concept in the previous question, but to be digital, to have a digital culture, is not only to be agile, it's related with some digital skill that probably don't have all the people in the company. So you need a specific kind of employees in your company. And we always talk about open communication, share everything you have, and we talk about the concept of happiness, to be humble, optimistic, and passionate, to be really involved, have a strong engagement with the company mission. Is really important to be successful in this new world.
Thank you. So I don't know if there is anyone from the audience who wants to place a question. We're happy to take them in case. Otherwise, I will go further with our colleagues. I believe that you showed experiences that are relevant in the market. You have shown the different roles that insurers can play. So what I would like to ask you, but here open to any of you three who wants to answer, is what type of struggles and issues you found in your proposition, and what suggestion you can give to the audience of probably competitors, partners that are listening to this. So what things you learned that now you can suggest to improve the proposition or to be more proactive in acting on the market?
Yeah, I can start with some of our experience. I mean, oftentimes, when you look at examples from the market, they are very inspiring. You look at look at Asia and say, okay, that is something that we could do. But sometimes it's actually difficult to apply that one-on-one in our market structure here. Most of the time, we don't have the same regulations or anything. So that is actually a different thing to take a one-on-one comparison. And I think related to that is the fact that what I said earlier. I mean, we're working on the home and mobility ecosystem, and here I think the perception is very important. If you look at those very, very big players, maybe they are able to build the ecosystem for their market, but for us it might be a ecosystem or one of many ecosystems that evolve around it. So I think that is something to always keep in mind. It's we think of it as a living system and it has its own life, and it is actually going to be complex. So complexity will increase in the beginning radically once you get it into your DNA. So I think that is something to keep in mind. And if you start with it, with small pilots that won't hurt the business, where the risk is manageable, where you can see how can I integrate it in our legacy systems, and yeah, deal with it. And the other thing is the mindset that I touched upon earlier. I mean, if you still have the predominant mindset that the legislation is part of your business model and the insurance won't be affected by it, that's also a dangerous thing to stumble over, because at the moment, if you come with that perspective, you have strong arguments, because you can pull in some examples where ecosystems or trials of ecosystem failed. You will find a lot of it if you search for it. So there, I think you have to have a clear communication, like I tried to say earlier, that it's not one against the other, but together, traditional business and future new business has to evolve in a joint fashion.
Thank you. Someone has to add, or let me be provocative.
Maybe.
Why? Yeah, please.
Yeah, sorry, Nicolas. Maybe just to add on what Matthias was saying, and I will very much support all that he said. I think the cultural aspect is something that we don't have to underestimate, because we are in an old-fashioned industry, and bringing new concepts like ecosystem, open innovations does not resonate to all of our colleagues. And I think we have to recognize that, because it's not old-fashioned against new fashion, it's together. And I very much like the approach Matthias is taking. I think it makes total sense. I think as well, maybe two critical points to keep in mind is on the level of ambition you set yourself. Don't start to boil the ocean and try to do Pingan or Zongan just from scratch, because you will fail clearly. So start small, test, adapt, and that comes to the third point, which to me is very important as well, is flexibility. And I think all this kind of new methodology like fail fast or test and learn. I think this is very much applicable to what we're trying to do here. You won't find the right way of doing it the first time, or maybe you will, but lucky you. Most likely you won't, and you will have to adapt and to adjust, etc. And I think that's very important to keep this agile, flexible mindset. Otherwise, you will be stuck in trying to build something that will never scale. So I think agility, flexibility is very much at the core of every project around ecosystem. Otherwise, it's just not working.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally in agreement. We started speaking about fast prototyping a few years ago, and that was mainly related to the need to reduce the insurance product cycle. In reality, today is even more relevant, because there is a speed to market, time to market problem, and the fact that you need to interconnect. You have to exchange dependencies among different organizations, and that creates an additional problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all move at the pace of the slowest of the partnership,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Pick your partners cleverly, because you could be stuck.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if Raul has anything to add on this.
Yes, about the topic that mentioned Pierre, I believe that you can be faster in the market in two ways. The first is trying to be supported with a startup. If you have a platform that allows integrations, you are able to provide this new kind of services really quickly because you don't need months to integrate this value proposition in your ecosystem. You are only needing a few weeks if you amplify it, have the right way to do this. And the second way is to have integrated the user voice in your pipeline. We are doing this now because in our methodology, we are creating prototypes quickly and test the prototype without any develop with a set of customer in order to be sure that the product have sense and have an excellent customer experience. So if you have this mindset, you can be really quickly testing products and be success with the final version.
Yeah, maybe just one thought, adding to what Raul just said. Yeah, we're also doing a lot of POCs with startups, and recently what we actually discovered is that more and more it was kind of difficult to convince the people in the business for more POCs, as we have done already a lot of them in the past. So we kind of started to switch the model and saying like, hey, what is the need? What can we do for you? And trying to adopt more like a pull logic coming from the business and solving the pressing issues there. And then, of course, time and time again, bring in the outside perspective again. So having this push and pull when you cooperate with startups, not only just trying to push what you think is good and innovative into the organization, but try to go more in tandem with it. And so far, what we feel is actually it is going again more fluently. We just recently started with this kind of process. It's a simple change, but the effect was actually quite remarkable so far.
Yeah, that's the thing we were forgetting. That's also the wider ecosystem, because the way we approach it, it's important to make this successful. So we are at the end of our time. So I want to just one last question, if I can, Anna. Sorry, maybe be provocative, and just for who wants to answer. I often see propositions on the market where insurers try to sell something that cannot be sold. Like, nobody has been successful with a home insurance telematic offering today, because they were basically selling white label cameras. And what should an insurer do to be really that orchestrator in the ecosystem? So be really relevant and be, let's say, valuable in the proposition. Do you have an answer, or is something that we still need to find? Don't take just the home examples, but others. I think we need to be relevant in the marketplace. That is the need. Can we make it as insurers?
Well, I'm happy to start and let the other complement. And I think your home example is a very clever one and very relevant. At least for us, we have struggled in the past to scale that. I think the only answer to that is start by the customer problem, not try to push for a package solution. But this is what we've done in the construction industry in the US. Is we started by sitting next to the customer saying, okay, what do you need? What's missing to your life? What will help you doing better your job? And if you start by that, then your ecosystem makes sense, because it's just answering customer needs.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, you need to work for your customer and not for your company. This is the main vision. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot more than fully agree to my colleagues. And maybe just one thing to add, maybe the insurance is not the vehicle in your example that you need. Maybe it's something else provided by an insurance company, or what was originally an insurer, now doing something else in a different industry, so to speak. Maybe you just need a different corporate body for it, and the insurance is just not trustful enough to offer that service.
Great, thank you. That was a very good and helpful answer, I think. So Anna, I think we're over then. We touched all the 3 points: technology, culture, and partnership, and all the the shades of that around it. So I hope it was helpful for our colleagues. Happy to take any question offline if you make, if anyone wants to place the questions. And over to you.
Well, I think all I can say is a really big thank you. It's been really engaging, at least from this side, to listen to you all talking about your challenges and your successes. And again, adhering to what I said at the very beginning about sharing best practices and connecting the industry professionals. So thank you all very much for being here today. Thank you for listening. To our participants, you'll be receiving a link to the recording after today, and there'll be a very short feedback survey right after we finish. So if you could take a few seconds just to click through and share your appreciation of today's session. So once again, thank you, Nicolas, thank you, Matthias, Pierre, and Raoul. Thank you all for being here today and for really opening up and sharing. It was really very interesting. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a lovely afternoon, evening, morning, and hope to speak to you all again very, very soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.